Good morning, everybody. A warm welcome to everyone who just joined us today. Thank you for taking your time to be with us in this webinar. I'd like to request to please turn your microphones off so that we can hear the speakers later. Please settle in and please let us know in the chat box where you're joining from. We'd love to get to know you. This webinar is also going to be a networking event. So please, if you would like to be in touch after this webinar, please do put your details in the chat box and we will share your details to the other participants. So once again, welcome everybody. This is the fourth edition of the Reef-World's Making Waves webinar. Oh my gosh, it's been 4 years already. This year, we are going to be making waves through citizen science. We will be joined by a number of experts in the field from Indonesia and the Philippines of their citizen science initiatives. So please stay tuned until the end of this webinar. A big thank you to all of you for spending your time today. And if you have registered and unable to join us today, do not worry because this is recorded and this will be uploaded in our Greenfins YouTube channel. So please do subscribe in our YouTube channel, okay? This webinar is a part of the Transboundary Project, improving ecotourism standards in the region by mainstreaming green fins in collaboration with the South China Sea Strategic Action Plan Program, funded by the Global Environment Facility, led by United Nations Environment Program in partnership with United Nations Office for Project Services. So, to start off, I have introduced myself. I'm Erin, the programs officer for the digital community. So you might have seen me a lot in your emails and the community forum. So nice to meet you, everybody. I'll be your host for today. And a few house brief rules so that we can keep this webinar collaborative. Please do stay in the moment. This is such a shared moment for all of us and quite rare actually. We are gonna encourage you to keep your video on so that we can see your faces. If you're comfortable though, make sure that this space is safe and inclusive. Keep your mic muted, and we encourage everybody to please ask questions. And of course, let's have a good time. So to formally welcome us all, in our webinar, we would like to invite on screen the Senior Project Manager of the GFUNEP International Waters Project. He is implementing the Strategic Action Plan of the South China Sea and Gulf of Thailand, involving 6 countries around the South China Sea. So let's all welcome Anders Poulsen.
Thank you very much, Erin. And welcome everybody to this very interesting webinar on citizen science in the transboundary context of the South China Sea, but initially the Philippines and Indonesia. As Erin mentioned, I'm Anders, and I'm the project manager for the South China Sea project, as we in short calls it. It's project working in the South China Sea large marine ecosystem, and we're specifically focusing on transboundary issues. And in that context, I have been very happy to have been working together with the Reef-World Foundation for the last year and supporting the Green Fins initiative, specifically in the transboundary context and in transboundary collaboration between Indonesia and the Philippines. And this is one of the outputs of that project that we are having this webinar today. So welcome everybody. This is quite exciting for us. I think the diving industry in this region is one of the fastest growing sectors, blue economy sectors in the region. This of course creates some challenges, but it also create opportunities, and one of them is exactly citizen science, because as more people join the industry of diving, more people can also participate in collecting information data and become citizen scientists. And I really believe in this increasingly over the coming years as an important contributor to information about coastal and marine conservation. By definition, citizen science is locally based. It originates from usually from a specific site, a dive site, for example, or an area. But when you combine it, and particularly when you combine it across borders, it can really reveal transboundary issues in a much larger context. So the role that citizen science can have in connecting the local with the regional and transboundary, I think it's quite interesting and promising opportunity we have. So I hope that this collaboration that has been going on now for a year between Indonesia and the Philippines, I hope this can sort of inspire further collaboration beyond the two countries and into the whole South China Sea region and beyond even. So once again, welcome, and thank you to Reef-World Foundation for organizing this and for collaborating over the last year. I really look forward to hearing about this event today. So thank you very much, everybody.
To Anders and for your support and your team so far for Greenfins and Reef-World. Next up, we will hear a few words from Reef-World's programs manager, Dev.
Hi, everyone. Before we dive into the exciting technical topic today, I want to briefly speak to you about the truth why we're here. We are currently looking at a serious threat, an El Nino this year, and that brings possible mass coral bleaching to our reefs. But of course, this isn't just about the bleaching events we need to watch out for, whether it's plastic pollution drifting between our islands or migratory wildlife that moves across our borders. Our seas are interconnected. I think all of us know that. I'm preaching to the choir here that we are one ocean. If a reef fails in one part of the world or a migratory route is disrupted, we all will feel economic impact. No single dive shop or local government can manage these issues alone. This is why being an active part of the Green Fins network is so critical as of the moment and in the future. We are building a transboundary collaboration mechanism or for early warning systems with this project. When you use citizen science tools, for example, to report bleaching or to track marine life or marine pollution, you are providing the intelligence we need to protect the entire marine tourism industry. Your data on the ground is what allows us to advocate for better policy and more sustainable management at the national and regional levels. Today is about making sure you know how to use this network. All Greenfins members, thank you for coming here today, dive operators, resource managers. We hope that you use this network to its full potential to protect your reefs, to protect your businesses, and of course, our shared future. Thank you for your commitment to this. I'll hand it back to our very able team at Reef-World. Erin, thank you so much.
Thank you, Dev. To give us a background on our webinar today and why do we need to know more about our shared or transboundary waters, I would like to welcome Reef-World Foundation's Senior Programs Officer, Emma Levy, to take us away.
Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for that warm introduction, Erin. And it's such a pleasure to be here to talk about our topic today. Let me just... Okay, so I think, as Dev used the term preaching to the choir, we all know why we're here today and the importance of protecting our coral reefs. There's so many reasons why our corals need to be protected. There's a range of reasons, such as being home to 25% of all marine life, as well as offering community protection. There are rainforests of the sea. They're often called because of their medicinal qualities. And of course, something very relevant to us is they offer employment. So many dive and snorkel businesses just wouldn't exist without the coral reefs. which is why it's so important for us to take action today and take meaningful action to protect those around us. But the truth is in the data. We are seeing that there is urgency required due to coral decline in the region, but also all over the world. Each coral bleaching event that has occurred has been more catastrophic than the last. You can see that the most recent event, 2023 to present, we're seeing a 54% rate of coral loss globally. And our global hard coral cover is on the decline. Of course, this can seem quite negative, but on the bright side, what we are seeing is that in between these coral bleaching events, coral cover does bounce back. We are seeing corals improve, which give us hope for the future. We need to act to make corals more resilient than ever before, so that they can withstand these coral bleaching events that we face. And we are receiving the news that there is a 61% chance of an El Nino event this year to occur in a couple of months and then proceed for the remainder of this calendar year, if not even longer. With the knowledge that each bleaching event is stronger than the last, it's really important for us to just take action. And that can be in many different ways, as we will discuss today. So there are many reasons why coral reefs are under threat today. Of course, the most obvious reason that we all know about is the warming temperatures and global warming, which is a direct link to this coral bleaching. There's also other pressures such as overfishing, pollution, coastal development, and such. But what we want to focus on today is tourism and what the effects of tourism are doing to the coral reefs. Of course, tourism can be an amazing opportunity, and we know many, many businesses that are taking action to make it a meaningful experience for the general public, but we must acknowledge that there are threats as well. And this is where I would like to introduce our flagship program, Greenfins. So for those that don't know already, Greenfins is run by the Reef-World Foundation. We are the global implementers of Greenfins, but we have worked in partnership with many different organizations. And currently we are working with South China Sea Strategic Action Plan to advance Greenfins in the Coral Triangle region. Now, Greenfins acts to provide the only recognized environmental standards for the scuba diving and snorkeling industry. This could range from how a business is anchoring or using mooring buoys on the reef, to what chemicals they are releasing into the water, how they're managing their garbage, and even more. So these standards set a benchmark for an assessment process that we run with different businesses around the world, and we also support policy integration with governments. Now, what I'm going to show you next is a really exciting map of our network. So as you can see here, we have businesses distributed around the world, anywhere where there's coral reef or anywhere where there's diving, essentially. And what we've seen so far is that we've reached approximately 346,000 tourists and 1,700 dive and snorkel staff. As well as this, we have a bunch of different environmental materials that we've seen downloaded about 500,000 times. So through Greenfins, we are advancing knowledge of sustainable marine tourism, and we are also assisting businesses to take action. Now, at the time of gathering this data, we have 346 active Greenfins members around the world. And you can see that the highest concentration of this member network is around the Coral Triangle region. And we know why. I mean, I'm based in the Philippines. It's the most gorgeous reef system, and we want to keep it going for as long as possible. So this is our Coral Triangle region, where we're seeing what we can see here is the South China Seas, and of course, the connected transboundary waters within the Coral Triangle region. Now, I wanted to share some really interesting facts about where we are based. So the South China Seas host 76% of the world's coral species and 6 of the 7 species of marine turtle. So we have 6 of 7 of those species. And it sustains about 120 million people, so provides food for those individuals. Not only that, but nature-based marine tourism is projected to be worth about $8.52 billion US by 2030. So the importance of this area of the world just knows no bounds. It's huge. And what we've identified, or what has been identified by resource managers around this region, is that we need to stop working as individual countries and have a more regional approach. So work together to take actions to address threats from marine tourism, because all of these waters are interconnected. Something that happens in one country, like such as a oil spill, can easily transfer to different countries, which is why we need to tackle this regionally together. So the types of marine tourism activities that we want to address are things like plastic pollution, chemical discharge, and within that, there's oil from boats, human waste, and more. And then, of course, physical reef damage. If you can imagine the kind of if there's a group of divers that dive in one country and kick and destroy the reef, if they're not taught effectively, when they dive in a different country in the same region, they will do the same thing. And then, of course, having responsible interaction with migratory marine life. So I've mentioned already the turtle is a great one. We also have several different shark species and ray species that we want to protect on a regional level. But we're not starting now. We've actually been working on this for a fair amount of time, and progress is being made to make Bali in Indonesia and Coron in the Philippines the first two Greenfins destinations that will be entering a cooperation agreement, which we're calling a Greenfins Partner Site Agreement. And we're taking advancements to make this happen. So this approach is going to facilitate peer-to-peer learning, collaborative data sharing, community inclusivity, policy development, and joint management of shared resources. And within that could be migratory species and more. So this is a really exciting advancement. And in February this year, we met to have a regional workshop where we discussed application of Greenfins on a regional level. And not only this, we heard from lots of different presenters over the 2 days with a special look at citizen science. So I won't go through what each of them said. Of course, that will just be a whole webinar, just me talking. But if you're interested in hearing more, please do reach out to the Reef-World team at info@greenfins.net, and I'm happy to share information. But the top two kind of feedback points or that we learned about citizen science was the need for a regional mechanism for data collection and insight sharing, and a high demand for standardized data collection protocols. And with that, of course, is AI and the growing advancements within AI. Before I hand over to our other speakers today, I want to introduce citizen science. So, of course, many of you will know what it is, but as an introduction, it is the general public's participation in scientific research. So no longer do you have to be a scientist to do scientific work, which is excellent news, because the scientific community in marine conservation, we need the help. So there's many different ways that individuals can get involved in citizen science, but the key ones that we're looking at are coral health monitoring, predator removal. So these are predator species that are predating on key species such as corals. So this could be crown of thorns starfish, drupella snails, or even lionfish control in the Caribbean. But of course, that doesn't apply in this region. And marine life monitoring. So megafauna sightings, fish and invertebrate surveys. Now, technology has become far more developed. Way back in the day, it was really expensive to have a camera. But of course, with the invention of GoPro and so on, it is more easy than ever to take photos on a dive, and the analysis can come later when you leave the dive. So citizen science, it's not just volunteering. It's not just doing good on a trip. Of course, those are really valuable reasons to get involved in citizen science, but this is a strategic tool to increase scientific knowledge. So the scientific community need these citizen science projects to be able to do the work we do. And I want to give a shout out to the dive staff that have joined the webinar today, because we really, really value dive tourism staff when they do citizen science. We call you guys the eyes and ears of the ocean. So not only do you have incredible diving skills that everyone's jealous of, just static in the water, but also you have that contextual knowledge of growing up in a certain area and understanding these changes over time that individuals that kind of fly in overseas just won't have that knowledge of. And why tourists? So tourists, if there's any tourists in the chat, please do speak up in the speak up in the chat box. We'd love to hear from you. I just want to share some really interesting statistics that we found out from a survey that we ran in 2022. So we found that astonishingly, 75% of tourists are willing to pay more for a sustainable alternative. So if they see that a business is doing sustainable actions, they want to go there and they are willing to pay the extra, the premium for that quality. And also 83%, they want to learn more about marine protection on their holiday. So it's all great kind of looking at these amazing species underwater, but they want to know more about them. They want to know the science. So there's a really big opportunity there to involve individuals in science when they're on holiday. Okay, that's enough for me for now. I'll be back later to run a Q&A. So please hold your questions until all the speakers have spoken, because we're going to have a dedicated Q&A session to discuss everything shared today. But I have such a pleasure in being joined by two NGOs based in the Philippines as well as Indonesia. And also they are Greenfins assessors too. So they're part of the Greenfins network already. And really looking forward to hear everybody speaking today. Thank you. Erin, I'll hand back over to you.
Thank you, Emma. And before we introduce the other speakers, we are going to ask you a quick poll in the chat. Please do answer it, because we're interested what kind of citizen science you're in and you're interested in. And thank you, Emma, for highlighting that we need to stop working individually and actually to start working together and tackle it regionally together. So our first speaker, actually, we're very delighted to be joined by Wira Sanjaya, Bali Portfolio Manager of the Coral Triangle Center and a certified Greenfins assessor and trainer. With over a decade of experience in marine conservation, Wira has been the forefront of advancing marine protected areas in Bali and across Indonesia. He has played a key role in managing the Nusa Penida Marine Protected Area and brings extensive expertise in coral reef monitoring, ecosystem assessment, sustainable ocean management. He is passionate about protecting marine ecosystems, and Wira continues to drive collaborative solutions that support both communities and conservation. Hi, Wira, please take it away.
Hey, Rin. Okay, good morning, everyone. First, I want to say thank you to Anders from the South China Sea Strategic Action Program for this opportunity, and also from the Reef-World Foundation team, everyone here, Emma, Sam, and also our team from Nusa Penida, Matt, Bali, Indonesia, Mama Rangers also from Philippines and Jordan. Thank you everyone for this opportunity to sharing about our program at Coral Triangle Center related with the citizen science programs. Okay, next please. Yeah, this is just a background about our organization, Coral Triangle Center, because like Emma mentioned that CTC as the national coordinator for the Greenfin in Indonesia, and this is our vision and mission to support the sustainable environment in Indonesia. So our mission is to inspire and train generation to care for coastal and marine ecosystem. So this is an overview about our organization, Coral Triangle Centers. Next, please. Yeah, and this is an overview about our program at Coral Triangle Center. So we focus in the Coral Triangle country, and this is our CTC site program. So we have 6 sites in Indonesia, in Nusa Penida, Bali, and Maluku, and also we have 6 sites we call it learning site in Timor-Leste also. So we support the development of the marine protected area and also implementing the greenfin program in this site. Next, please. So CTC also have MOU or Memorandum of Understanding with the national government. So CTC have a MOU with the Ministry of Marine Affairs and Fisheries this year, and also in Bali we have a MOU also agreement with the Bali government to support and implementing the greenfin certification in the MPA management. And also I think Emal mentioned about our national workshop also in Jakarta this year to scale up the greenfin network and train a new generation for sustainable tourism assessor. So this is some of our program and activities to strengthening the national policy in Indonesia. Next, please. So that's the overview about CTC, and we will, what you call it? Erin mentioned to making a web to the citizen science. So we will say to our science program at CTC. Next, please. So this is our program or activities that involving many volunteer and also local community. First one we do the annual assessment monitoring in our site like Nusa Penida, Timor-Leste, and Maluku. So we involving many dive operator. I think Hélène also from the Purple Dive also joined with our program to monitor the reef health monitoring every years. So we're using the PIT and UPC program. And then on 2022, we're using the new method, the image-based approach with the EI program to do the analyze the reef health monitoring, and we use the reef code and mermaid program. So that the reef health monitoring, and for the coral reef monitoring also, so CTC supporting the data from our side like Nusa Penida and the Banda. So we have the 10 years data for the coral reef and we submit to the ICRI. So this is one of our contribution to the global coral reef monitoring program. And in Indonesia, we also at CTC support the coral reef status of Indonesia. So last year, we share our data to the national government to making the report about the status of the coral reef in Indonesia. Okay, next, please. Yeah, this is more detail about our program in Nusa Penida Marine Protected Area in Bali. So this is the map of the MPA in Nusa Penida. So we have a citizen science program with the local diving operator, volunteer, and tourists in Nusa Penida. So they recording and submit to us the data about the charismatic species, ATP, the endangered, threatened, and protected species like manta, mola, shark, and turtle. So we got the data from the tourist and diving operator, and we making the distribution of these charismatic species in Nusa Penida. So this is still ongoing, and this is very important data and very valuable data. We submit this data to the MPA manager to strengthen the management of MPA like surveillance and the other program. And we also with the dive operator in Nusa Penida, we are recording the coral bleaching survey. So this is our data from last year, 2024 and 2025. So we got the recording the data on the coral bleaching event in Nusa Penida. So this is the contribution from the diving operator, tourists that support the survey on our site in Nusa Penida. Next, please. Yeah, and this is the other citizen science, our citizen science program also related with the Dugong survey. This is our program in Maluku, and we will what you call it, implementing this program also in other side, at CTC side, like in Timor-Leste and also in Bali. So we do the drone surveillance to monitor the signing of the dugong, and we also have a village community training to reporting the dugong encounter. So this is our program till 2023 in Maluku. And also we're recording the resource utilization monitoring every year on our side, like in Nusa Penida, Liase, in Maluku, and also in Timor-Leste. So this is our citizen science program related with the dugong in Maluku. Next, please. Yeah, and for the citizen science and the management integration, because there's many data about the citizen science and how the data can use for the management program, especially for the MPA management program. So from the resource utilization monitoring or survey, this is very useful data to support the zonation program in the MPA to make sure the high quality dive site zoning system. So this is very important data. And for the reef monitoring program, the reef health monitoring, so this is also part of the public participation in the reef health survey. So we got last year, sorry, we got 10 to 12 people support our reef health monitoring in Nusa Penida. So this is how we can increase the participation of the diving operator and tourists on our survey. Sustainable code of conduct. So this is very important also, like greenfin, how diving operator can implementing the sustainable tourism activities in our site. Species protection, the tracking megafauna like manta or mola. So this is to inform visitor management rules about what do and done during the tourism or tourism activities in our site. So that's related with the citizen science and the management integration. Okay, next. Yeah, I think that's about our citizen science program, and I want to update also about the Greenfin program in Indonesia. So this is the membership program until 2026. So right now we have 10 gold member in Indonesia, so and 2 including on our Greenfin Global Top 10, and 39 certified member across the Indonesia. And we have 3 digital members right now, and yeah, we have the new assessor 2023. We have 4 new assessor, and we plan to add more assessor, Greenfin assessor in Indonesia. So this is a recommendation also from the last workshop in Jakarta. And I think until now, there's more than 300 people engaged in the awareness raising presentation. So this is very interesting, especially like in Indonesia, in Komodo, we have a very high interest from the tourists, from the local people to attending the awareness raising presentation during our Greenfin assessment in Komodo. So it's very, very good to engage more people involving on this program. Next, I think that's my last slide, and thank you so much. If you have any question or need more information, please let me know.
Yeah. Thank you, Jaya, and
Thank
for
you.
sharing your work at Coral Triangle Center, especially in Indonesia. Like, these guys are amazing. And if you have any questions, please do put them in the chat box below. And please do save this information if you would like to get in touch with Coral Triangle Center. I'm so delighted to introduce our next speaker. Uh, Originally from France, and her passion for diving started at just 13, but it wasn't until exploring the vibrant reefs in Southeast Asia that she was truly hooked. The journey eventually led her to Bali, where she built a career as a dive professional and instructor. Now a highly experienced educator, she has trained hundreds of dive professionals and previously led programs at a leading PADI IDC center in Bali. In 2019, she co-founded Purple Dive Penida, combining her passion for teaching with a strong commitment to sustainable diving. And oh, did I mention that Purple Dive Penida is an all-women dive center? So when she's not in the water, she actually enjoys macro photography, drift dives, and exploring new dive sites across Indonesia. Welcome, Helen.
Hello, everybody. Thanks for the introduction. I hope everybody's doing good. I'm going to share my screen, so hopefully everybody can see the presentation. Okay. Is that working, Erin?
Perfect.
Okay, great. Hello, everybody. So my name is Hélène. I'm one of the co-founder and the director of Purple Dive in Nusa Penida. We are Greenfield Silver member, working towards our gold status. And we also a PADI 5-star career development center. So I'm just going to quickly share with you a few things about what we do and how we do it. So just to present quickly ourselves, so we are all our female, all our owners are female. Most of our management is as well. And so we've been operating for almost 7 years now in Nusa Penida. We have 18 team members in total. And we train about 500 divers per year. We dive around in the Nusa Penida Marine Park, and as Jaya just explained, this is one of the really rich area in the Coral Triangle. We have manta rays, mole and moline season, very healthy reefs, and so hopefully we're trying to take our part in this and encourage also our guests to play a role in keeping this environment in a great condition. So there's a few ways that we try to do this. First, obviously, we've been working with Greenfins for a few years now. And the reason why we really enjoy this, it's because it's a really good framework for us to work on. So obviously, from the beginning, we started to do things, as good as we thought it was, but clearly there was a lot of margin of improvement. And so every year, we get challenged a little bit on our practices, which I think is really good. So the assessors come and dive with us. They see how a day run. They go around the dive center and maybe have a look at how everything's done. And then we get really practical advice on how to improve and a task list that we can work on during the coming year. So it's very practical, and it has been very easy to make progress. And the other thing that I really appreciate with that is that there's a community forum online where we can also go and share ideas with other people, or maybe ask questions and try to find solution for some of the issues. The other framework that we use is 1% for the planet, which was also a choice after trying to contribute to some organization, but having maybe a lack of framework to do that. So 1% for the planet means that we give 1% of our turnover to environmental partners. So it's very easy. We record our donation and send proof. And at the end of the year, we send our books, and basically they certify us saying that we've given 1% of our turnover away. It also allows us to introduce them to NGOs. So we've been working with local NGOs, but it's also a way for us to be accountable for this, which I find is also really convenient. So that's the other thing we've been doing to keep track of our commitment. So I want to just show you a few activities that we do here for citizen science that maybe could be replicated in some other areas. The first one that we use is quite specific to Nusa Penida because there's a local population of manta rays, and they are usually in the same dive sites, and they are usually there all year long. And obviously a lot of people who want to take photos of the mantas, which is great because it's one of the things that we can do very easily for citizen science. So you can there's a website called Manta Matcher. And so when our guests or our guides have good photos of the manta belly, which is their identification, then we just very easily upload that on the Manta Matcher website. that then has a database. And so we just put the photo of the manta and where we saw it and what date. And then this built basically a database of mantas that we already know, or maybe sometime new individuals. And because so many people are keen on taking photos, obviously it's just quite easy to then do this after the dive. So that's the first data collection that we use. The second one is called Dive Against Debris, and it's a PADI program that allows you to basically collect and count, as a dive center, to collect and count record your dives and the amount of trash that you find on the dive. It doesn't have to be a cleanup dive. That's also one of the things that makes it quite convenient. So you can log any dive, and my staff logs most of the dives, or at least a few times a week. But basically, if enough people do that constantly, then we turn this into some data point that then Project Aware or PADI Aware can use as citizen science. So basically, we just fill a quick survey of like the dive time, the depth, which dive site we were diving at, and what kind of trash we found, and the number of pieces of trash. It doesn't even have to be weighted. It can be like estimated. And so it's what it looks like on the website. So you see here, for example, on the right-hand side, you see a dive in PED. On the 8th of April, there's 3 people and then 3 debris collected. And so the staff has this app on their phone. And basically, it's quite easy after the dives to log the dives. And so it just provides a lot of data for then PADI Aware to use in order to discuss the trash issue that we're having here and in a lot of other places. So that's our second course of action. And then the last one is a little bit more basic. We just do a local beach cleanup in front of the dive center. So you can see the seawall here. It's in front of our house reef, basically. We started this with Trash Hero that someone mentioned earlier, but it was a little bit complicated to like synchronize a bunch of different schedules with other dive centers or other organizations. So now we just do it in our own schedule, and we just invite obviously our customers, our staff, anyone who's around to just give us a hand, and we just clean in front of the dive center. It's also a good way to have a conversation with local people about the trash problem, which obviously they see. But unfortunately, here where we are on the island, there's not a lot of infrastructure to take care of the trash issue. So it's also a good way to have a little bit of a conversation about picking up the trash and not throwing it on the side of the road. And this is also a way to like get other people interested, but we often find that it's not necessarily only our divers that come and do this. It's more people that, I don't know, I've seen a post on Instagram or something, and like they're spending a few days on the island and maybe they just want to come and lend a hand. And so it's a way for them to meet other people as well. So just a few things about how we've been putting this into place. So a lot of the divers that we have here, but also other guests, do want to help, and they don't really know how. So if you offer something that is quite simple, like giving us your manta photos or coming into a beach cleanup, then people are usually very willing to help. So that's the first thing. The second thing is that consistency is quite hard, but it's actually what works. If we get, it took me a really long time, for example, to get my staff to like log their cleaning dives or log any of their dives. But I think it gives us more valuable data than just going and do a cleanup dive maybe once a month. Whereas if they log their dives 2 or 3 times a week, then we get consistent data for the area that we're in, and then it is more useful. A photo tells a lot more. So that's why we've been also working on this manta ID photo, but also taking a lot of photo on a cleanup so that we can spread awareness a little bit. And I find that non-divers are like quite difficult to reach for us because obviously the people in our dive center are usually divers. And so this is the part where I find it difficult to connect. People that understand a little bit the ocean, the divers are happy to help, but I don't really know. I don't really have a solution how to reach the non-divers as a business. That's it really. So for those of you who are non-divers, I don't know if that's the case, then it doesn't really need, you don't need to be a diver to assist. Obviously, there's a lot of other ways to help. Funding some of the organization doing this is one way, but also sharing data and choosing verified operators that have similar ratings or other recognized labels than greenfins for other field of operation, I think is really valuable. It doesn't mean that they're going to be perfect, but it means that they, just like us, they're probably trying really hard. And I think that's important. That's it for me, guys. If you have any questions, I'll be happy to answer them.
Thank you, Helen. And thank you for emphasizing that you don't need to be a diver to be involved in citizen science initiatives. And, you know, thank you for sharing and going beyond your operations in Purple Dive Penida. So, guys, next time you're in Bali, you better check out Purple Dive Penida and you can be involved in their citizen science initiative. Now, we will travel all the way to the Philippines to welcome Denmark, the science manager at Blue Alliance Philippines. With a strong background in marine biology, he holds a Master of Science in Marine Biology from Mindanao State University. He brings an extensive experience in coral reef and fisheries monitoring. Denmark walks across the Philippines as well as Indonesia and Tanzania, focusing on measuring ecological impacts of marine protected areas. He is specializing in reef fish ecology, fisheries monitoring, and GIS mapping. He also plays a key role in translating scientific data into practical recommendations for sustainable marine resource management. Welcome, Denmark.
Hi, Erin. Thank you very much for that generous introduction. Mhm. So hi everyone. So again, I'm Denmark. I'm made in the Philippines. I'm all the way from the Philippines. I'm one of the science members of the Blue Alliance, and Blue Alliance is a non-government organization. We've been working here in the Philippines since 2022 and is committed to conservation and management of coastal marine resources, and then specifically aiming to regenerate at-risk coral reef ecosystem and biodiversity. We also hope to build innovative blue economy reef positive businesses to help alleviate poverty and generate long-term incomes for marine protected areas, to which this income that can be generated from these reef positive businesses will be invested back into marine resource management, particularly for the goals and objectives of marine protected areas. So for our background, we have our priority coral reef sites, specifically in Oriental Mindoro and Occidental Mindoro, and as well as in Northeast Palawan. We are also trying to actually, we're expanding in the south of Palawan as well. Some of the sectors that we are closely working with includes the fisher folk community and as well as the people's organizations, women's organizations as well. Of course, the co-management agreement with the local government units in our project locations, the tourism sector as well, particularly the dive resort operators, dive tourism, and we're also working closely with the national government agencies, the Bureau of Fisheries and Aquatic Resources, DNR for the environment, the Coast Guard, the Maritime Police, particularly for enforcement and compliance. We are also working closely with research institutions. So there are only a few of us here working for the monitoring team of Blue Alliance. So we need a lot of hands and a lot of help coming from different research institutions, and as well as with NGOs and other organizations. So for context, this is the map of the Philippines, but we have more than 60 marine protected areas under co-management agreement with the local government units, particularly here in Mindoro and as well as in Northeast Palawan. So the expansion sites that we are working on is somewhere here south of Puerto Princesa in Aburlan and Nara. These are a few of the monitoring sites to which we conduct the reef health monitoring, benthic community, reef fish, commercial fish, and among many others, and especially as well with coral bleaching affected sites, especially here in Puerto Galera. So most of our sites that I'm going to report on henceforth will be here in Puerto Galera and some parts in Palawan. So this is in Occidental. These are also the sites in Rojas in Palawan, and as well as in Araceli and Dumaran, and as well as in El Nido. And in the future, we are looking as well into doing the same monitoring protocols in our expansion areas. So Blue Alliance is particularly working in the four fundamental and interrelated fields, and that is the science and conservation, that is us, particularly for ecological monitoring and fisheries, community development, to which we work closely with the local community, and as well as particularly with the affected community with fishery closure in certain areas or the establishment of marine protected areas. So we are working closely with the local community for alternative livelihood options, and as well as enforcement compliance and the blue economy, to which the reef positive businesses are in to for long-term MPA operations. So going to citizen science programs that we have in Blue Alliance. This is just a, how do you call this, an outline perhaps. So first we're going to talk about the website reporting through Dive Mindoro portal, the same as what the website reporting from the previous speakers. Then coming from information from all these dive operators, the local communities, the fishers, as well as tourists and from many other sectors. We conduct baseline information gathering, and most of this information are participatory in approach. So we also conduct the shark monitoring, where we also involve, get the help of LAMAVE, the large marine vertebrates, dugong survey, drone assisted, similar to the previously presented method. We are also looking at going more scientific, but it's a bit difficult to spot this dugong. They are quite elusive in a sense. We also conduct one of our flagship programs since 2022 is the community-led crown of thorn starfish population watch or population outbreak. And we are scaling up the ecological survey for commercial fish in a participatory approach, wherein most of our local partners are joining in, and we are also training them, capacitating them to conduct the activities. So this is the Dive Mindoro portal. This is mainly operated by the Coral Reef Safari, also a Greenfins. Yep. So most of these informations that are for the reflected in the sites are coming in from most of the dive operators, and as well as from the local communities and fishers as well, and as well as tourists. So for most of the reporting, this information can be reported through this website or scanning this, what's it called, this QR code for any presence or specific observations, behaviors for particular sea turtles or any other emblematic or charismatic species, as has been discussed a while ago, particularly with the sharks and some others. Where are they distributed in certain months? How are they using the marine habitat in these certain months? Some of these are quite seasonal, and as well as population outbreaks of the crown of thorns, particularly in Puerto Galera. And by the way, I am using the presentation template from GFCR. So thank you very much for this very beautiful template for the Global Fund for Coral Reefs. So regarding the baseline information, using the baited remote underwater visual video system, to which firstly we have this information from our dive resort operators, from tourists, and as well as from fishers, and even with the local enforcers from the local government units. So they have reported that some of the sharks are usually found at specific months, particularly around November to April or even in May, that some of these thresher sharks are just spotted here in Kilima, while the black tip reef sharks are somewhere on the other side of the island, or particularly close by. So these are actual footage of the thresher sharks, which our colleague Kassan Van Dam is particularly leading. So over time, we have established that most of this presence of the sharks are localized here in Kilima Point in Puerto Galera, particularly during when seawater is colder in these sites in around December to perhaps April or perhaps May. We have observed, we're trying to identify some of these species, but it's quite difficult with the video footage coming from it. But we can manage over time that we have identified around 4 individuals of these sharks that frequent this area. On the other side of the island, particularly in San Antonio, the black tip reef sharks usually frequent the shallow reef areas in maybe perhaps around 2 to 3 meters. There are adults and there are also juvenile sharks in there. So these are one of the informations that is very important to us coming in from the local communities, to which we can gather this scientific information, and we can provide recommendations to the local government unit for a site-specific conservation approach, or perhaps seasonal interventions. For dugong population survey and distribution, this is also an actual footage from Kassan in somewhere in Palawan, in Araceli, and in Dumaran. If you can see this map, this video footage, if I'm not mistaken, was gathered somewhere here close to the port of Dumaran. And these are their known distribution area, while some other individuals, around 3 or 4 individuals of mature adult dugongs, are usually traverse through this area as well. So we have other sightings and reported sightings of dugongs in Rojas as well, but we don't have the hard evidence through it, although we've spotted some in Rojas, which we are yet to report. So again, this information will not be gathered by our team without the support or the reporting mechanism from our local partners, local government units, fishers, and as well as enforcers. And in Puerto Galera, as been mentioned, we are doing this project along with the local communities, particularly with the dive resort operators, the dive tourist guides, local communities, students, women's organization, the local government unit in particular. We have been monitoring and conducting this manual collection of crown of thorns. So over time, we have collected this information that since 2022, and most recently, we have less than 0.1 collection of crown of thorns per minute per person, and this is a real progress. When we say this is at 0.1, we are no longer in the, in the alarming population outbreak or curve. So during the initial phase of this manual collection, we can safely say that this is a very alarming population of crown of thorns. And over time, we have collected almost around 30,000 of crown of thorns since 2022 by the end of 2024. As of recently, we are no longer collecting this crown of thorns because they are part of the ecosystem. They have a role to play. We only collect them when they are at the threshold into the alarming population. So, yep. So this is with regards to the population outbreak of crown of thorns, and we are very grateful to the local government of Puerto Galera and the local community, as well as the PG Diver Association. And we are also trying to scale up our commercial fish surveys. This method, the variable distance method by Labros et al., is quite scientific in a sense, very technical. You need to list all the species that you observed in down to species level, but we are trying to make this into a more participatory approach. We have a lot of sites. There are only a handful of us in the team. So we are trying to scale this along with the partners in the local government, particularly the Municipal Agriculture Office, the MENRO, and as well as with the Fishery Management Office in certain areas, along with the partnership of Bantay Dagat personnel or the deputized fish wardens. So we are trying to get them on board into this commitment with the commercial fish surveys. Since there are only a handful of us, we need a lot of help with the local community, and we can simplify this approach. So we started off by certifying them as a diver, getting them to experience more diving underwater, and training them with the participatory approach towards a commercial fish survey. So this in the picture is among the training that we did in Palawan with the deputy fish wardens, along with some of the personnel from Tubata Management Office. So this is the indoor size estimation, but don't worry, this is a very simplified approach. We don't need to be more around the every centimeter near exact estimate, but into the size bins of like every 10 centimeters, 1 to 10 centimeters, 11 to 20, and 21 to 30, and so on and so forth. And after the indoor size estimation, we conduct the underwater size estimation for the next day and so on. And actual survey along with the fish, and as well as these are fish dummies actually, with known size estimates. So over time, we are trying to have this information for us. So these are the information coming in from our pilot sites there in Oriental Mindoro, in Puerto Galera, Sancho Doro, and Calapan. So these are very useful information that the local community can help us as well, particularly with the PO, the Bantay Dagat, so that they can be well capacitated into providing information, not as not as very precise and specific with the scientific observers, but these are very useful data and information that we can gather over time, and we can predict patterns over time and perhaps conduct some adaptive management approach given these changes in the data over time. So yes, we are happy to report some of the successes and challenges that we did along with the local government unit and local partners on the ground. So we have integrated the crowdsourced data into planning and execution of ecological surveys. We have successfully mapped presence of shark species and recommended site-explicit conservation measures, certain sites, as well as with dugong distribution and proposed initial management interventions. And we have also happy to report that we have successfully controlled the population outbreak of the crown of thorn starfish and sea stars for the community partnership. This is a long-term partnership that we are trying to keep alive over time. And some of these challenges, of course, as you have noticed, is to ensuring sustained volunteer commitment from our local partners. And as well as maintaining the data quality, which we particularly with the commercial fish surveys or the fishery target surveys, to which our local communities will provide us a great deal of help over time. So some of the strategies that we are trying to implement to overcome this is to building strong partnership with the community, and as well as implementing robust training and support as we go along the line and adjust from it. So yes, I think that's all for me from Blue Alliance. Can they contact us if you have wanted to connect and for collaboration. Thank you very much, guys, for this
Wow.
platform.
Thank you, Denmark, made in the Philippines, for the incredible work in Blue Alliance and an amazing mix of different citizen science initiative. We'll have our Q&A next. Apologies if we're gonna be a bit over time. Maybe we'll end at 11:10 for a few Q&A. But I want to say a big thank you for three amazing experts sharing their experiences and perspectives on citizen science in different regions and different lessons as well. While you think about your questions in the chat, we would like to have a quick photo with everybody. We'd love to see your faces. Please do turn on your camera if you want to, but we'd really love to see you. And I'll say count to 5 and please give us your best smiles. Wow. Thank you. Thank you guys for staying.
Oh, it's great to see everyone's faces.
See familiar
Hooray!
faces. Thank you, everyone. For
Yeah, thank you. And also all the way from Tubataha. Wow, thank you. Okay, in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, smile. Second page, Deb. One, two.
Maybe one more.
Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, thank you, everybody. Now it's time for Q&A. I know you guys are shy. Please don't be shy. It's very rare to have all these experts in one place, so please take advantage of it. May I invite all the speakers on the screen and Emma as well for the Q&A session.
Hi, everybody. Welcome back. Just setting up so we can see everyone's
Welcome
lovely
back.
faces.
What a meaty discussion. I've learned so much, and I would love to be involved in Dugong Citizen Science, if ever.
So, my first question is actually for Jaya and Denmark, seeing as you guys are our scientists in the chat. So, you collect so much fantastic, wonderful data. Is it open source? Can other organizations, businesses, or individuals access your data, and how? So maybe Jaya, you want to answer first, and then we go to Denmark.
Yeah, thank you, Emma. So some of our data is open source, so they can use it. I mean, the other partner can use it, but some of our data also we not share the raw data. For example, like the raw data for the reef health monitoring. So we only publish the result, especially on the mermaid. But for the raw data, if other partner want to use our data, we need to sharing data agreement first. So this is also our what you call it to minimize people using for others purpose. So that's what we do with our data, Emma.
That's
But for
great to know, Jaya.
yeah, but for the government, like in Bali, the MPA manager, we share all our data with them.
Fantastic. Great to know that if anyone wants access to CTC's endless information, you can contact Jaya. And Denmark, what about you and Blue Alliance?
For Blue Alliance, we openly share our data upon request. Just send us an email and note what specific data you need from us. And also similar with Jaya and the rest of the team, we also upload most of our ecological reef health data into Mermaid, so you can access it. Not really the raw data, but the how do you call this? This summary is openly shared. But then again, all the raw data can be shared to any organization that wish to ask it, or any individual students, particularly with a local government unit. It is open to everyone with just proper, how do you call this, attribution for us.
Really interesting. Yes, it's great to know that it's so easy to get the information from you guys, which fits very well with our idea of transboundary sharing of information. So really great. Erin, I think you've got a question ready for Hélène.
Yes, I got a question for Helen. What advice would you give to other dive businesses that wants to integrate sustainability or environmental protection in their business model? Because we know running a business is one thing, having a sustainable aspect is also a one thing. So what do you advise to these business owners?
Okay, so I would say that first, running a business it takes a lot of time, and so if there's no element of constraint on your sustainability, I find it more difficult to pursue. For us, like the first couple of years, we were like, oh, we're going to do all these fantastic things, and then they get kind of drowned in the noise of the rest. So for us, going with green fins and 1% for the planet was a determinate choice of, now in order to maintain this rating, we have to be consistent with our efforts, and someone external is actually going to validate that we're doing a great job. And for me, that was really important, I think, because then we are accountable as a team. Obviously, it's also my role to like put that down to the rest of the team members, but it's not, we don't really do it for the rating, even though it looks nice on the door, but it's a tool for us to commit. So that's the first thing. And then the second thing I think is that it has to be easy enough so that your team members can maintain the effort. So that's why we chose some of the specific programs we're using, because my guys get in the water, they dive and they take photos and they pick up trash. So it's already something that they're doing. Now, what we just need to do is make them monitor and log and track. But I'm not asking them a huge amount of effort on top of what they're already doing. And so it allows us to be consistent.
Thank you, Helen. So, would you be open in connecting to these dive centers if they have questions and help them,
Sure.
get
Yeah,
set
yeah.
up? Yeah. Okay. Thank you. I love this. Greenfin's members helping the community and network. Last question. I know actually we have a couple more questions, but because of the time, last question we have from Hannah P. How can our org be part of the Greenfins initiative if our projects are not diver focused? So they do sea turtle conservation, monitoring citizen science by beach cleanups, IECs, alternative livelihoods for fisher folk. So any advice? I think Emma can answer this.
Yeah, I'm supposed to be asking the questions, but Hannah, this is such a exciting question from you. Thank you so much for asking it. There's many ways you can be part of the Greenfins initiative, even if you don't work with divers. So I mentioned about the Reef-World Foundation. So we are the charity that runs Greenfins. So we are always looking for partners, and those partners can vary in what we do. So we have partners that we share data with. We partner to expand reach in each country. So say if you're working for government or a nonprofit or business, we can always work on a partnership and some sort of collaboration to work together in the future. As well as this, and many of our Greenfin standards actually cross over with other industries. So everything like don't touch corals or don't feed the fish, of course, that's prevalent in even beyond marine conservation. So we have lots of different tools and resources that you can utilize. And then the last way that you can get involved with Greenfins, that actually leads me to segue quite nicely into my plug. Let me just share my screen. So Helen actually mentioned in her presentation, can you see my screen? It's all good. Okay, lovely. Helen mentioned in her presentation about the Greenfins Community Forum. So this is something that is not only open to Greenfins members, it's also open to resource managers or people working in conservation as well. And these individuals we invite as what we call trusted experts. So what we have here is this unique forum which our focus is on sustainable tourism, but also on conservation strategies. And there's lots of crossover with other industries as well on the forum. So it's really engaging. There's lots of conversations happening. And we really are looking for new individuals to join as trusted experts. So Hannah and others listening now, if you think that that is you, you are a trusted expert, please do contact us to find out more. We would love to have you in the forum and to be assisting our Greenfins members in more sustainable practices. If you are not a resource manager or a Greenfins member, firstly, if you're a business, why not join Greenfins? But as an individual, the community forum, we are looking to open it up to individuals in the future. So stay tuned. But for now, it's just for businesses and resource managers. I think we're nearing the end of our session today. So, Erin, I'll hand back to you. But
Yeah.
huge thank you to everyone for joining today.
Thank you, everyone. And I know we've been a bit over time for 15 minutes, but thank you for staying in this webinar. And kindly visit our website and follow our socials, Greenfins and Reef-World, for all of our initiatives. And we would like to give a special shout out again to Jaya, Denmark, and Helen for taking their time today. Everyone that joined the webinar will get a certificate of attendance. And if you would like to get connected, please do drop your emails below and we would love to work with you. And if you were interested to be part in our exclusive community, just let us know. Again, this is Erin, Emma, Deb, and Sam from the Reef-World Foundation. Thank you for joining the Making Waves webinar, Citizen Science in Action. We'll see you maybe in the fifth one. Bye.